So today we are talking to you about the opposite, what not to do before you get ready to list your house. So we're thinking about it a little bit different. I'm Kalene Zaabadick. Behind the camera is Laurie Derickson, and we are with Colorado's finest agency here in Colorado Springs, Colorado. We are your top 5% listing agents here in our small city, and we love what we do. So if you're thinking of listing your house anytime between next week and 2 years from now, we'd love to get in front of you and tell you about what we offer and help advise on some of these things that we may point out in the video now. So we are talking to you about what not to do, and one thing I can almost guarantee you is do not, in most cases, do a full kitchen remodel unless you have bought years and years and years ago, and we know an $80,000 kitchen reno is gonna get you $80,000 back in your pocket. Now, we may suggest, and we have done this quite a bit, anything from painting a cabinet to just changing a countertop, maybe adding on some bling or some hardware to those cabinets, to maybe replacing some appliances so that they're all at least cohesive, either all black or all stainless steel. We'll help look at it from a third-party perspective, and I would say Laurie and I are really good at knowing our numbers from our contractors and helping you decide what's gonna catch somebody's eye, make a home, make that kitchen feel updated without maybe dumping a full $80,000 into a kitchen. Maybe we can get it done for a lot more cost effective, because in today's market, what Laurie and I are noticing is that yes, the house has to be move-in ready, but you can make a kitchen feel nice and exciting and sexy and lived in without going all out to where you're pulling out cabinets, demoing, you'll have to pull permits, change your electrical around, all these things, which maybe we can get away with a lot less money.
So number 2 is do not replace your entire flooring without at least consulting us. There's a lot of things we can do, and we actually have some really good local here in Colorado Springs suppliers and businesses that do some cheaper, flooring replacement. Or we've had listings where we've taken up carpet and we've seen hardwood floors. We're like, well, let's refinish these. There's a lot of different options, a lot of different product, and you have to think about it from the perspective of a buyer when you're getting ready to list your home. You may love a certain flooring, you may love carpet, they may not. Kalene and I come in from the perspective of a buyer. So when you're looking at your flooring, maybe you don't want hardwood flooring in your laundry room. I know it's easy to think about, but maybe there's another option. And I think you gotta think about it from a cost benefit analysis when you're thinking about it. A lot of times you're like, let's just replace the flooring. It doesn't look good. Well, let's look at what that looks like and put the cost to it and how much value you're gonna get back out of that when you are replacing that flooring, whether that's tile, hardwood, LVP. There's so many different products right now too to look at. And not only that, how much is the install? So if you have tile, can we go over the tile? Do you have to rip out that tile? So not only are you looking at flooring costs, but you're looking at how much it costs to do what I call the muscle to get that out. A lot of times, Kalene and I advise our clients, hey, you do the rip out. You rip out that carpeting, you're gonna save yourselves $500,000 at least just by doing that manual work yourself.
Maybe not 500,000, but 500 to 1,000
okay,
is what you're saying, right?
Not 500,000. No, not 500,000.
500 to 1,000.
My main point is when you're talking about flooring, before you're selling, do not just replace all your flooring without consulting someone who does this every day, all day long.
Number 3 is it worth it to replace your front door? I'm gonna say probably 90% of the time we're gonna say no. So here's the reality though. The listing agent is going to be showing up with potential buyers, and their very first impression of your house has to do with the way
buying
it looks
agent
from.
is showing up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Did I say listing?
Well, maybe we show up with our own buyers, so it's
Okay.
fine.
So we show up with our own buyer, but yes, you're gonna see the curb appeal. But while that agent is standing here, opening the door, your buyer's eyes are going to be looking all around up this conditioned space. So we always try to doll up the patio, maybe put something nice and aesthetic. But one thing that we a lot of times will have you do is to touch up paint. So even if you have an older front door, a lot of times it has to do with the detail of sanding and painting, the trim, and making this front door and front area really look clean and presentable, because this first impression carries through the entire showing of the house.
Number 4, we're gonna talk about window coverings. Do not go out and buy a whole new set of window coverings, drapes, and blinds when you're getting ready to list your house. Here's my exact point in this. So we are in a new build, gorgeous new build here in Cordera. And one thing you wanna look at is they do actually have some blinds in here, but when you are listing a home, you want your house to look nice, white, light, bright, right? And you almost don't need window coverings on a lot of windows throughout the home. Now, if there's a home right next door to it and they're like looking into your house, that's when Kalene and I come and we're like, we told a few people this year, yes, put some window coverings on these few windows. Also, a lot of times what a great idea is to go to Home Depot's, Lowe's. They have shears for like $8 and you can just drape them next to it. You can also put it high against the ceiling, which elongates people's eyes and make it more of that posh look. We say bougie sometimes, but elongating those drapes and those shears up to the ceiling also creates a great look for $8. I will say with drapes and window coverings, Kalene and I take them down a lot, especially if you have big, bright, printed drapes
Bold
and
colored
window coverings. We want it to look nice, white, and bright. So we will take those down, and sometimes with window coverings, less is more. Less is more. Always say that to yourself when you're looking at window coverings. So something not to do is go out and get all new windows drapes and blinds, because they can also cost you a pretty penny. So number 6 is landscaping. Do not go and spend thousands and thousands of dollars on landscaping. Remember, we want it to look good, we want it to look fresh. So rather than doing like maybe a cement border or going out and spending a ton of money on trees, those trees aren't gonna grow quickly and it can add up pretty fast. We can bring in some mulch. We always can go through and spray down the weeds if you have not been taking care of your yard. There's some cost-effective things we can do, and it also depends upon what season you're listing in. So when Kalene and I go to a listing appointment, are we gonna list this home in November when everything's going dormant? Or are we gonna, sorry, there's a car going by here. Or are we gonna list this home in the summer when you're gonna be able to see that there's grass and whether there's weeds? So it's kind of how we approach it, but really we want to come to that home and take a look at that outdoor space. People do love that outdoor living here in Colorado, so how can we maximize the space you have, work with the landscaping you have, and bringing in maybe some like mulch, I said, to freshen it up a little bit. That's pretty cheap. It can go a long way when you're looking at listing your home and getting those good aesthetic pictures of your home. Remember, when people are looking at your home, the first thing that they want to see, their first impression, is that outside. The first picture on the MLS is the exterior of your home. And so we want to get that ready to go, but we don't want to spend thousands and thousands of dollars. As Kalene knows, she's just did landscape her whole yard. It was like $40,000, $50,000.
$40,000.
A good thing here in Colorado, maybe Kalene can show that way, is a little bit of these grasses. They do really well, whether it's the fall, the winter. They don't need a ton of watering as well. And so we can come through as we are listing your home to get ready to sell and kind of put some dollars to it and you return on your investment for that outdoor aesthetics and landscaping.
So number 7 on the list, we want to address maybe cracks in concrete.
You're getting attacked by the microwave.
I don't know what to do about that. Shut close.
Here we go.
but cracks in your concrete, or maybe some of the concrete that has movement. So here in Colorado, we have expansive soils. And so there will be some movement in your concrete. And so we want to give you our opinion. We know what an inspector is going to point out, but is that movement gonna concern the buyer at all? That's what we're asking ourselves. And so if we need, and concrete can cost a lot of money, not only to replace it, but to dispose of what's already there, we're asking ourselves, can this be mud jacked? Is it a huge problem? If it's spalling on the driveway, what is the cost of that new driveway, and is it worth it? So this is kind of a bigger piece, just because concrete can be such a high ticket item, and it can concern a buyer when they see a lot of movement in concrete. So my best advice is to just have us come out, take a look at it. If we know that it looks just aesthetic, then we're going to let you know. And then if you can get a mud jacker out there, a lot of times you're talking hundreds of dollars versus thousands of dollars. Now, if we believe that there is any sort of structural issues, or that it might need to be completely replaced, we can help you get in contact with some of those contractors to find out an amount and see if we're gonna need to get that done before, or if it's something we can list and take care of at inspection.
So this is a little bonus section. So we're talking about what not to do. Things you can do, and things Kalene and I really appreciate when we come into the listing, is number one is decluttering. I think when in doubt, take out. We always say that. Less is more. So when you're looking at your home, I even look at it after I go to listing appointment and go back to my own home, and I'm like, oh, I have a lot of things that would drive, like just when I look at my counter spices, I get I have to live there, I have kids, we're gonna live in our house, correct? But less is more, especially for those listing photos. Take out, I think a good percentage is like 40%. So when you're looking at your bedroom, we went to a listing appointment yesterday, and they had these two huge like end tables, and then they had like a vanity, and then they had a bench, and they had a rocking chair, and it kind of dwarfs that room. And so what we do ahead of time is we go through and we'll come do a pre-walk, and we'll blue tape things to stay and kind of give you our opinion. You can use your garage spaces. People get a storage unit. Closets aren't quite as important either as well, so it can be a good place to store things, especially for those listing photos. And the other thing that we really appreciate and kind of help guide you through is cleaning that house. A good clean house gives us a good backdrop to get you at home staged, a good, palette for getting that home top dollar. If that home is clean, and I think sometimes we have what's called my dad used to call it house blindness. We don't see our own dirt until you have someone come in, and then I'll say, hey, we're gonna tell our cleaners, we have great recommendations to really hit the appliances, really hit those baseboards. Maybe we need some touch-up paints in those. That can go a long way when you're getting your home ready to list and selling it for top dollar. So a little bonus section, we always kind of plead our case on those. If you want to sell that home for top dollar, those are great things to consider. So if you're thinking of listing, whether that is now or in 6 months from now, a year from now, we would love to come in, put eyes on your property, go through that pre-listing checklist with you, so you are more ready and more versed in what you need to do to sell that home for top dollar when it is go time. So put those numbers into your phone and give us a call or text.